Okay, let's call the order this meeting of the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board. It was December 1st, 2025. We're going to roll call, please.
Present. Director Young.
Director Boyce here. Director Council Father. Director Salke. Okay, so we're all here. It's not for the president saying we want for a mixed bag of things. First, on next doors, people have been complaining about all the extremely bright headlights. I love those people complaining about the bright headlights.
Yes.
But there are some simple things we can do today for some reason, right in one day. And I wouldn't have spent $9 on some yellow night value glasses, $1. And I'm well, that's what I was all about tonight. And it just makes such a difference. It doesn't solve the problem, but it sure makes it better. So it's driving glasses. And these are cheap, these are $9. Next, so we have a new version of the website. And we have a new address that's a little shorter, easier to remember, MWSD.net. And there's still a few items to work out, but it's a great refresh, and it comes with a number of accessibility capabilities that are intended. What's your microphone close? One. Okay. I'm speaking directly. Okay. Is this okay? I'm here for you.
Lauren.
Anyone?
Words.
Okay, I wish we knew what we did, but I'm glad it's better. Okay, so to recap, night driving, bright glasses or bright glare, $9 glasses. I recommend it. I use them and it helps with night driving. Anywhere that you can buy cheap sunglasses. Yeah. Okay, so I was saying we have a new website. I'm sure we'll have a presentation or something about it in more detail later, but since people are already seeing it, MWSD.net, it's a really nice refresh. a big part of the intention is to provide accessibility features. These are required by law. We're right on top of it. And some of those features are really, really very helpful for people who need a little more help getting into the material. So still got a few things to iron out. So give us a minute to put some polish on it, but I'm really liking what's happening with it. It's really good. And it represents a lot of work on the part of staff. Okay, I want to take a moment to thank the team here at the district and at the Sewer Authority. You all do excellent work. We're just so pleased that you're part of the team and taking such good care of all of us here on the coast side. You often do that work under very difficult circumstances, like when there's a big storm. The crew may be out all night in the weather. It's risky work, it's cold work, it's wet work. And the rest of us mostly at home asleep while everybody's out there doing that work, while they're doing all-nighters and working really hard. So I want to just mention that tonight, we've got some good clear weather, but one of these days it's going to be stormy and rainy and our folks are going to be out there in harm's way. And I urge everybody to take a moment, if you get the opportunity, to thank them for the hard work they do and to know that they do that hard work. Okay, we're going to move into public comment now. And just a couple things to say. Public comments available so the public can address the board and the district staff. And our job here at the table is to listen, consider what we hear, and we aim to do that with courtesy and respect. And I hope we can all do so as we go through tonight's meeting. District staff are sometimes able to respond to comments. However, given several Seal Cove property owners have filed claims against the district, we won't be having a back and forth. The board will receive public comment only and won't respond to any questions or statements. And with that, do we have any public comment? I see one hand raised. Greg Diegas.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I just wanted to update the board and the public on the Red Alert Montara Moss Beach work we've been doing. We are trying to get the Board of Supervisors to issue a resolution in support of having Caltrans mitigate the risk in right-of-way where the important water infrastructure for the district is. What we're running into is that we don't have an official document from either CAL FIRE or the Coastside Fire Protection District endorsing it, even though there are fire hazard maps online that make it clear that there's a significant wildfire hazard in that area. So we're trying to work with Coastside Fire Protection District to see if we can get a letter of support, which should empower Supervisor Mueller to make the case with the rest of the Board of Supervisors that we represent a unique priority. And I think we do in good faith. While many districts have very high severity wildfire, we have our primary water tank and wells up there. We have a watershed up there, and we have an evacuation situation, which was proven on last December 5th to be almost fatal, and certainly in a real emergency would be. So I'm just letting you know that we're going to try and meet with Coastside Fire Protection District, certainly on December 17th at their next meeting. And I guess my only request to the board would be if you can think of anything that MWSD could do, and I know you've given us a couple of letters, but if there's something you could do to lobby with CAL FIRE or CFPD or help us try and get them to document that hazard, that would make it easier for Ray to say to the other supervisors, this situation is unique because of the factors I just mentioned and deserves such a resolution and priority. So that's my update. Thanks for your attention.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other oral comments from members of the public?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're a board member, so I'm looking to the public first. All right, to you, Sid.
Hey, tonight, Ray gave town hall at Brews and Views down at the Maverick Center. And he mentioned Nicholas Calderon has been elevated to the assistant to serve under Ray as in support of coastside issues because he knows the coast. And also on December 15th, the county's gonna finally release the Seal Cove critical geotechnical study that they've been waiting for Cotton Shires to release. And I guess they're also planning to hold a community meeting. Didn't say it was gonna be on the 15th. I'm not sure if they're gonna hold it on the 15th. He didn't say. But he did say they're planning to hold a meeting. So we'll know that soon. And I just wanted to say, since I'm never allowed in the to discuss the board's actions taken in closed session, but Steel Cove issues are not going away. And I just want to address my fellow board members and simply say that as we close out the year, we're one district, and I don't really see the fairness or the legality of deciding to stop providing service to just a few homes in Seal Cove. So I'm hoping maybe next year we'll move forward and, you know, provide services to those homes that we've been providing service to since the 1980s. When we fix a leak on a certain street, the cost is borne by the rest of the ratepayers, and you know, we don't tell somebody on 4th Street we can't repair any more houses on 4th Street if the pipe springs a leak, the same as 7th Street. So I just don't understand why we're doing that, and I don't think many of the Seal Cove homeowners understand it either. So it's my strong advice that moving forward, we start treating all of Seal Cove like we treat the rest of the district. Thank you.
All right, we move now to the next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing. And this is, I'm going to describe a little bit about how public hearings work. They're a little different than normal business. So I'll open the public hearing. We'll have a staff presentation. Then we'll receive public testimony and written protest received during the hearing. Then I'll ask for a motion to close and we'll vote on that motion. And then I'll ask the clerk to complete the tabulation and announce the results. And then we'll discuss the item. And then we'll take action on whether or not to adopt the fees. So with that, I'm going to, the agenda item is review and possible action concerning establishment of Prop 218 limits for solid waste disposal fee increase and adoption of a revised master fee schedule to amend the solid waste disposal fees. And with that, the public hearing is open. Comments?
Thank you, Scott. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the great relationship and the agreement that we have with Ecology of the Coast since quite some time. We've also worked with their predecessor company before that. So this has worked out very well for the citizens in Montara and Moss Beach. Every year we have to set the rates for the new calendar year. The solid waste rates are following the calendar year, while our other rates, our water and sewer rates, are adjusted annually if they are adjusted with the calendar, with the fiscal year. And that starts in July 1. So for the rate year and calendar year 2026, Recology calculated an increase of 16.67%. That sounds a lot. We have in our agreement a cap of 6% to the overall rate. And that means that the remaining 10.67% are transferring to the rate year 2026. Now, this carryover is fluctuating every year. For example, in the last year, it was around 20%. So this year we're carrying over 10, so it's 16 and we're carrying over 10 instead of 14 as we did last year. So this is fluctuating. And at one point we will have to negotiate with Recology towards the end of the contract how we're moving forward with this, but the 6% cap has been very favorable to our ratepayers. So that means that the monthly rate for the 32-gallon waste containers would increase from currently $42.98 to $45.56. So we followed the Prop 218 process. That means we sent out notices to all property owners in October, notifying them about the planned rate increase for January 1, 2026. And so far at the preparation of this agenda item, we have not received any protests. Scott just mentioned we're going through a final count very soon after the public comment period. So the purpose really for this meeting is now to formally count the number of written protests received or potential to receive more. And then the board can decide if the fees will become effective or not. Assuming the board adopts the proposed rate increase, we also need to amend the master fee schedule. So first we would like to set the new Prop 218 limit, and then we would like to amend the master fee schedule that make these rates effective. So the staff recommendation is to allow relevant testimony, close the public hearing, count all allowable Prop 218 protests, and determine whether or not the proposed rate limits should be approved in accordance with Prop 218. And to do so, we're asking to adopt an ordinance establishing maximum rates for collection, removal, and disposal of refuse, and an ordinance restating and amending the master fee schedule effective January 1, 2026. Thanks.
All right. So, do you have any public testimony or any written protests? I'm not seeing any. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so the public hearing is closed. Tracy, I'll ask you to complete the tabulation and announce the final number of valid written protests and whether or not a majority exists.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there are 0 written protests and no majority exists.
Okay, thank you. All right, board, discussion?
It's open and shut to,
Yeah.
Was this, did the committee work on this? And who's on the committee?
I'm on the committee and I did call Glenn today because when I was reading over this thing, I was asking him, I noticed in our neighborhood, there were 3 garbage trucks come through every time. And I asked him if that was efficient, because, you know, if our rates are going up, we get a the garbage can guy comes with 1 truck for the gray bin and a blue bin and then the green waste, but they do take them to different spots. So that made sense. And then the other thing was, I was asking him about the item 3, which said the bulky goods drop-off service 4 times a year within the Montara district limits green waste and including green waste and motor oil in Recology provided bottles only. And I asked him if we have the bottles at the district office, or do they have to go to Pacifica to get them? And he says, actually, they don't take motor oil at the quarterly recycling drop off. So we should change that on item 3. Other than that, I'm happy with this. I asked him also if we could get a better, we used to get those colored trifolds or six-sided fold flyers that came in the beginning of each year that said what you can take and what they won't take. but now it's down to one little tiny thing. And he said that they have it on their website, and it would be great if we could put it very prominently on our website when the quarterly recycle comes up. So I don't know who our webmaster is, but that would be great if they noticed it, you know, well in advance of the quarterly recycle on our website, very prominently, not somewhere deep into our website, but on the front splash page. And that's it.
Yes.
Recently, I went to the, on Palmetto, they have where you can bring your own recycling things, you know, and, I asked them about motor oil. I said, because I had read that you have to have, you know, special containers. He said, no, you don't. Because maybe the quarterly might be different than what they have anytime you go. He said, you can bring any container. He said, you just bring it over there and there's a big, you know, like a big
That-
bin
yeah.
where you can pour your oil in. So it's not the quarterly thing. So it's.
They don't take it anymore at the quarterly. Our thing is wrong here.
Right, they're taking it every day, like if I were to go up there tomorrow.
You have to drive it there yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to be misunderstood that they're not taking any oil at all, they
Right, right. They're just not taking it on the quarterly recycle
Okay.
day, and we don't provide them the bottles. There's not a special bottle.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Anyway,
Cool. Catherine, do you have anything more?
I think the contract we negotiated is a good one. And I have found that Recology has been pretty easy to deal with. And compared to other districts, our quarterly cleanup is a real value that other districts don't have. And just the time of year to at least leave a little card on your trash cans for the, to say, hey, we really appreciate the fact that you run a good shop.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for Clemens and Christine. If we've had this for the drop-offs, the bulky drop-off service, that they would take the motor oil and they're changing that, that would need to be reflected in the contract as well, correct? Because what we're seeing here is this is establishing the rates.
So this is establishing the rates. I don't see any mentioning in the rate table of how Recology is receiving the motor oil, but we actually have in attendance Ryan from Recology, so we can just ask. Maybe
Great.
Ryan, you can help us out here and tell us how are you collecting the motor oil currently? I believe in our contract, it actually says that we are supposed to be able to put it out, if I recall correctly, and it being collected with the trucks, but I may be mistaken here, Ryan.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I have been with Recology of the Coast since May of 2022. So during that time, you know, the multiple cleanups that we have, I was always told that we do not collect motor oil at the cleanups. Reason being, it's not technically safe to transport it. You know, if you come to our cleanups, you'll see, you know, the big trucks and the big debris box that we put metal in and mattresses and things like that. So since I have been here in May, we've never collected motor oil. However, our recycle yard at 1046 Palmetto, as was previously stated, we will take motor oil there. We are open every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So as far as I know, Clemens, we have never collected motor oil specifically from customers on the streets. And we have never collected it at our quarterly recycle events.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, I recall bringing some motor oil to the Palmetto station as well.
Yeah.
So that worked well. I'm just gonna take a look at the contract tomorrow, and Ryan, if I find something, then we can talk about this offline. I just thought I remember that, and I may be wrong.
Can I ask Brian a question too? What about curbside? We're allowed to still give them batteries and light bulbs at curbside as long as they're not in the trash, but on top of the cans, is that right?
Um, Batteries, yes. Light bulbs, from what I understand, no. So we always do take batteries. Every one of our recycled trucks is equipped with a bucket on the side of the truck to safely store the batteries in and bring them back. But as for light bulbs, the hard part with that is some light bulbs do have toxic material, mercury in them, depending on what type of light bulbs they are. So it's not necessarily safe to transport in our trucks. But again, once again, we take any light bulbs at our recycle yard at 1046 Palmetto. There are some specific cardboard tubes that we are able to put them and store them in and have them picked up by a company and recycled for use again.
And not at the quarterly either. The light
No, we do
bulbs.
take, we are able to transport the light bulbs,
Okay.
because we put them in a special tube, in the back of our flatbed truck. So we are able to transport the light bulbs at the quarterly events. We will take light bulbs and batteries there.
Thank you.
Ryan, the batteries, I've talked to a few people who said that they had some difficulty when they left the batteries on top of their cans.
They threw
And
them.
that's the kind of thing I've heard. And do they have to be on top of a specific can?
They should
Or can
be,
it,
they should be on top of your recycle can. So for the majority, it's the bright blue can that you guys have now. I know we are still in the process of swapping out cans. So some of the people that have had their cans for a while still may have a black recycling can down the coast. You'll see some of those older ones, but our guys know that either the black one or the blue one are the recycle cans. So they should be picking them up. And if that is an ongoing issue, I will definitely address it with all my drivers because there's no reason why those
yeah,
should not be picked up. They should be
I,
in like a plastic Ziploc bag, so not
right.
loose batteries, but like a plastic Ziploc bag. Those should be getting picked up.
Yeah, just one bit of feedback.
Blue bin.
If it's on top of the wrong bin, it goes a whole lot better for how everyone perceives the service. If the person who doesn't like it on top of the bin they're collecting might just move it over to the blue bin.
I-
Uh,
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Absolutely.
yeah, what the feedback I've had it's been a little without that kind of grace. So, add a small touch of grace and I think it'll go really well. I
Absolutely.
really appreciate the service. And Clemens, I think I would like us to, in approving this, approve it conditionally to leave off the bit here in the fee schedule about the oil at the bulky pickup. Just because anyone who reads this could get the wrong impression, and we don't need to say it here if we know that that's not going to happen. Does that make sense?
Just
So,
strike it.
So this would be in section
Item 3.
residential line item 3, bulky goods drop off at the top of page. The printed on the page is page 3. So at the top of printed page 3.
okay, so I see here, oh, there it says motor oil. Yes,
Yeah, good catch.
got
Good.
it.
It's like, I didn't know we had the bottles. That's what I was asking about. Where did they get those bottles?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
good discussion. Thanks for catching that. And thank you for being here and answering our questions. That's very helpful, Ryan. All right.
Just,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
okay, I just wanted to, like a suggestion, like if people aren't throwing away batteries every day, it doesn't come up that often. Would it be helpful if they were to call the office, just like if you're going to have extra pickup, you call the office ahead of time to let the driver know that you're going to have extra bags? Could it be something that it would be suggested so that a mistake's not made or a battery's not missed? So that the driver could be aware that at this address, there's going to be a battery for pickup.
You mean the Recology office?
Yes.
Would you want them to do that, Brian?
So they can do that. So, we're talking a little bit, like you said, about our bulky item pickup that has to be scheduled in advance that you get 4 times per year. So when someone schedules a bulky item ticket, a driver gets a printout on the board, saying that, hey, 367 7th Street has a chair to pick up. So if they called in and told our office, hey, I am putting out batteries on top of my blue recycle can, he will get like a little notice on his clipboard that's saying that, make sure to pick up batteries at this place. Now, they can do that. I'll be honest with you, we should be doing that without them having to call. I think most people, and I agree with them, hey, I just want to put my 3 carts out and I want them collected and that's it. And obviously safely and cleanly. So I mean, I would hate to say that, hey, customers should have to call to do that. That's something that I'm definitely going to address with my drivers to make sure that we're being diligent and very aware of looking for batteries on top of the blue carts and picking them up when they are out.
Yeah, and I mean, frankly, I found my little baggie on the ground later, and maybe I put it on the gray bin because I'm old. I might have put it on the wrong bin and didn't realize, and they just threw it on the ground instead of taking it. So it's nice to think if you told them, hey, if you find it on the wrong bin, just transfer it over. But maybe the guy on the picked up first, the blue bin was already picked up. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, and one other thing I would recommend, obviously, I was listening the beginning of the meeting when you thanked your, sewer team for being out and the crazy weather and crazy storms. Our guys are doing the same thing. When there's a signal telling
But in the
everyone to stay
dark.
home, our guys are out there. So, I mean, it would be nice if people did use some good judgment sometimes. Hey, if it's 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, hey, maybe I'll save those batteries for next week when the weather's a little better because our guys aren't really going to be able to control if they, hey, blew off the bin and they're on the ground. Obviously, they're just trying to get through their day safely. They're not, scouring the ground around, hey, did they have batteries out that maybe got blown over? So I would say just, using good judgment and not putting those batteries out when we have these severe windstorms that we sometimes do have on the coast.
Yeah, Bill.
I'm super glad to hear, Ryan, that you were saying that about just situational awareness ought to take care of most of it. That's exactly my opinion. I don't want to give the drivers any more paperwork than they absolutely have to have. And I don't want to give the customers any more implicit obligations than we already.
That's true.
I've got lots of things where I'm supposed to check this website otherwise every day, otherwise something changes. That's not fair. And I'm glad that things are being done as they are. I think it works great.
Okay.
Catherine?
Is it okay to tape the Ziploc on the
Okay.
top of the blue bin?
Good idea.
Would that hamper them picking it up? Is there some way? I'm not-
I would say that the issue that we could have with that, because people have done it before, so as they try to, remove the bag that's taped, sometimes that plastic bag will rip. The tape grips on it, and then all of a sudden it rips, and then you have batteries kind of scattered all over the floor.
Well, I'm trying to think how we keep them from blowing
Yeah,
around
'cause it's
the,
pretty windy out on the coast.
Well, let's take that as an item to give some thought to.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I just don't set them out until I have a heavy enough bag.
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
I don't, I use a Ziploc every time I do it, and like, well, just throw them in there and collect up a chunk. A lot of ways to come at this. All right, well, what I'm looking for now is a motion to approve the ordinance restating and amending the master fee schedule, ordinance number 218. Wait,
Second.
hang on. Sorry, we're doing two things, right? 217 and 218. Is that correct, Christine? All right, so we have the first one, ordinance 217, is establishing the maximum rates for the collection, removal, and disposal of refuse and for recycling services effective January 1st, 2026. And I understand that to be the one that you moved.
Yes.
Who second? I'm going to give it to Bill.
Sure.
I was staring at you. All right.
next in order.
All right. So since it's an ordinance, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Director Champion,
I,
We didn't get a second to my motion.
I'm sorry,
Oh, sure.
I was dealing with the first motion that was on the table.
Oh, okay.
Or motion, yeah.
Director Young,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter,
Sure.
Director Softkey.
Yes.
Okay, so by 5-0, the ordinance is approved. Now we're looking for a motion for ordinance 218.
I'll move the next in order.
This
I'll
is
second.
restating and amending the master fee schedule. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so Leah giving us a second. All right, again, a roll call vote, please.
Director Champion,
Aye.
Director Young,
Aye.
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Softkey.
Aye.
Okay, so by 5-0, the ordinance is approved. All right, terrific.
All on these other things below it, the sewer and water things, are those supposed to be part of this?
Well, the master fee schedule is a living document that we amend from time to time.
Cause I just had a question about it, if it's okay to bring it up on sewer charges.
No, that's not on the.
I do wanna ask though,
Well,
what happened to our thing about the wet weather? Doesn't seem to be on here. Did that get dropped?
no. The
I was
The
reading
thing-
it over because it was on here and I just. couldn't see
thing
it
about the wet weather, I'm not sure, tell you what,
afterwards.
yeah, let's take this up with, take that to Clemens. All right, so let's move into the consent agenda. Do we have any items on the consent agenda any directors would like to hold for consideration? Not seeing any, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
All right, so Catherine and Leah, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so by 5-0, the consent agenda is approved. No old business, going to new business, item 1. This is the executive summary, June 30th, 2025 fiscal year-end audit budget versus actual. Comments?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So each year, we are looking how we actually budgeted, how this turned out. So we just received the audited financial statements at the last meeting. So this is a little bit of recap. Peter is gonna walk us through what he sees, the most significant deviations from the budget. There's always explanations for it. But I think overall, the dollar amounts are, I think we are budgeting pretty close to actual spending. So this has been a very good process. So this is helping us review how did last year's budget process versus reality look like. In about 2 months or so, I'm gonna say in February, March, we're gonna bring a similar process where we look at our current budget and do a 6-month status comparison. Look at how did we budget for the first half of this year. And that is what we then use actually as a basis for the budgeting process. So with that introduction, I would like to hand this over to our accountant, Peter Medina. And Peter, you ran us through the similar numbers already the last meeting. So if you can just tell us a little bit what you're seeing in this year-end budget versus actual.
Thank you, Clemens. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, the last meeting I said that was the presentation. You typically don't see me doing this, so that was kind of odd. But for me, I like this presentation better. The audit is really just the performance for how we performed for presenting our financial statements in accordance with GAAP. Just really saying yes, we presented our numbers accurately, and at June 30th, 2025, we did not have any material misstatements. That part's, like I said, just standard. We go through that each year. We don't have in that statement budget versus actual. So that is really what the point of this presentation is all about. Really, because I said that just shows just that snapshot in time. Here we go through, okay, well, you think about time as far as These were as of 6/30/2025. We adopted this budget. We prepared this budget in 2024, really in the spring of 2024. So a lot of time passes, and so we go through these and we sit down and we go through the thought process and we go through actuals and we have look backs of 10 plus years of actuals and budgets to kind of see, and then we know what's on the horizon. We all don't have that crystal ball, so it's difficult. All to say, so going through here, I prepare this presentation, and it's always eye-opening in certain ways. So I said I'll try to stay high level, but I said there are explanations for most every category here in the summary, and then of course ask questions. But I'll go through basically the budget versus actual by fund and the year by year comparison. That's always just kind of neat to see how we perform year by year. So with this, I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to start with sewer, and I'm going to go through the cash flow summary. Okay. And like I said, slow me down if I'm going too fast, or speed me up if I'm going too slow. That's also a thing. Okay. So operations, this is kind of what I see as far as what we have control over, more or less. So we were budgeting for an operating surplus of $770,000. We ended up with 1.6. The big part piece here, property tax. We didn't budget for an ERAF receipt. We did receive one, and I have the amount in here, but I said that is more or less what this represents, this difference here. We also capture $387,000 of grant revenue, which was passed through directly to Sam. That is also netted out here in the expense. It skews the gross on both ends of it, but it nets to zero. So I said that's our revenue side of things. Those were our big variances there. On the operational expense side, what you'll see here, what I see is the SAM expense being under budget. And really what took place was last year we were expecting a mid-year budget adjustment. It didn't come, but we were anticipating that it would come with kind of what was coming down the pipe at SAM, with a major project that was budgeted for, but wasn't sure if funding was going to be appropriate at that time. So that's what was captured there, but didn't take place. So that's what you'll see there as far as we budgeted for it, didn't happen. Outside of that, I think we're relatively close. Some items were over. The big item here for being under meters, we've had 3 or 4 years where our meter expense was about $78,000 to $80,000 annually, and so we budgeted for that, but we didn't have the need for it this past fiscal year. So I said overall $3.8 million was what we expected. We ended up at 3.7. So those two differences, we ended up with an operating surplus of $1.6 million. Outside, so those are our operations. What I feel like we can control, well, not necessarily control, but we'd like to say we have a better grip on it. Outside of that, interest revenue, said we performed very well. We budgeted lower. We anticipated, well, it kind of goes hand in hand with, we thought we were going to have more expenses, and so we were going to be using our reserve funds. So because our balance was lower, we were going to have less interest income. That all didn't happen. And so because of that, we had a very large return on our investments. This is mainly in camp. So the big piece here, I think, for both funds, you'll see is basically we were anticipating a lot more in CIP projects that for various reasons did not come out as we expected. So that's really what the big difference was here. Okay. So bottom line, and I said dead down here, I said we pretty much get it to the penny, because well, to the dollar, not to the penny. Of course, I said here, $500 off. But we were anticipating a very large shortfall and going into our reserve for $4.4 million. That ended up not being the case at all. We actually added to our fund balance, so $38,000 from this view, from our audit. It's similar, but it's not exact. But from a cash flow perspective, this is what we added to our fund balance. With that, I'll pause. Any questions as it relates to sewer?
I'm just going to mention that the lower spending at SAM reflects a desire to slow roll some necessary projects by other members of SAM. So those chickens are still going to come home to roost. We're still going to need to spend the money. So enjoy the savings for the moment, but we're going to be shelling out mightily, and we'll be shelling out more because delays in construction always raise the cost. So that's kind of a, I see Peter nodding.
You said, I mean, it just, you know, I still consider myself relatively young, but well, that's a big thing that I've learned in life. You wait, you pay more.
Yeah,
I know. It's the other hand there, Catherine. Is that your hand, or is that just
no,
light?
that's Catherine.
Okay.
Let's go to Catherine.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to add a few comments that that particular party has been slow rolling this
For years.
for 8 years. Or actually, they
Longer.
started slow rolling it in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And our ratepayers have paid for it in addition to the millions of dollars everyone on the coast side has paid for this ridiculous lawsuit. And we still don't know if they're going to appeal it or not. So we can see how much this is going to cost us. I know I asked Clemens, and I believe Clemens and Keishan both have been keeping a accounting of the additional costs that have been cost over these years. And when we get down to negotiating on this, because I have a feeling they're going to want a new JPA, we will be able to release that data.
Oh, I wanted to.
I'm sorry, hang on.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm done.
Okay, so
I watched the Granada Sanitary District meeting, and they had a quite an interesting discussion about how the SAM financing has been working. And I don't really understand it as much as you two probably would, but apparently they've been robbing Peter to pay Paul. Every time they're short on certain projects, they borrow it from a project that they've been deferring. So you really can't figure out each year how much money they've borrowed from another project to go forward. Is that right?
no, that's not quite
Well,
right.
okay, explain it to me then. So
Well, that's not quite right. The funds are committed into SAM, and it is ordinary for projects to have an estimated budget and then to have the real cost. And it's very normal for agencies to shift funds as needed to make up for those kind of things. So if you have some unexpected overage, that's normal. So there have been some attempts to portray that as some kind of problem. It's not a problem. We know where the money went, and the projects are approved, and it's entirely normal for actual expenses to be a bit variable, because a lot of what's being done is pretty complicated stuff. So I understand that that point of view is out there, but I completely disagree with it.
okay, well, the delay causes the original project to be underbid in that regard.
Well, it's not under bid.
Oh, well, okay. They bid it at this price, and then by the time they get ready to do it, because it was delayed, it's much more money.
I would just,
Yeah.
it's not about the bidding.
Okay.
It's about when you delay a project, it costs more.
Mhm.
That's fully within Sam's control. But the board chooses through the actions of pretty much one agency not to assert that control and accept the delay, complain about the cost increase, and the degree of self-reflection on that. I would like that to improve, because the action and the reaction are completely predictable, and we've watched this for well over a decade. You delay it, you pay more. every time.
Need to take the blame.
Catherine and then Clemens.
I would suggest that this is been taken off topic.
Sorry.
From the review. But I would like to see Peter or Keishan, or Peter and Keishan, to come in and give our public a good explanation of this, because there are Granada has been making this same statement for a while and has been wanting to change our accounting to recognize this. And fortunately, the board agreed to go by GASB protocols for the government accounting agency. So that we're doing things by the GASB standards, and we have been getting awards for our accounting and our bookkeeping and our audits. But I would like to have it explained here for our public.
Clemens?
Thank you, Scott. I want to kind of echo a little bit in different words what you were saying, Scott. There is no earmarking of funds at SAM for any purposes. A budget is never project approval. Every single project that SAM implements needs to be brought to the board again and approved if it is exceeding the spending limit that for the general manager at the sewer authority at coast side. We're actually here at the perfect agenda item to show how the budget is an anticipated expense, and a lot of these items are over or under. The bottom line is very much is pretty much right on target. But if the SAM manager needs funds for to run the agency that are not in the budget and are within the spending authority, then he has the authority to spend those at the time. It's understood that if that draws down reserves, etc., then the budget would be increasing the next year. So we all are working together, and have to acknowledge that Sam is actually doing a really good job staying mostly within their budget, and the only expense increases that we've seen in recent years were due to the delays that Scott has brought up. That projects were so much more expensive than anticipated originally. So there's a number plugged in plans from prior years that says a certain dollar amount by the time Sam gets to implement those, and maybe some of these funds have been collected, but in reality, the projects are, due to the delays, much more significant. So I'm also, like Peter said, we were happy to not receive a mid-year budget adjustment in the past fiscal year. And I'm hopeful that we also still go through this year without a budget amendment, but we never know. This can always happen and has happened in the past.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you for the reminder on the thing that I left out was, I like to characterize the budgeting as how we decide how much money to put in the bank account. And the project approval is when we choose to approve the spending. So once it's in the bank account, it can be spent on the approved projects. And Clemens is right. Just look at this. Things are over, things are under.
Yeah.
This happens. What's important is that we provide enough money to Sam that Sam is able to carry out the business for the projects that we've approved. So we don't require, and it wouldn't make any sense to require a to the dollar prediction. We need to estimate so we have enough money collected so that we can do the business, but it's always going to fluctuate. It's a good question.
But in the past, I remember hearing certain board members on SAM say, well, they don't want to pay for it because it didn't benefit their constituents, for instance, the Montara pump station.
Well, that's a little more direct than I was saying, when I was saying slow rolling, but yeah, they don't want to spend it and then they complain about it when it costs more.
Yep.
Then they sue it.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's get it back to Peter. Peter's,
Sorry, Peter.
really good so far. Thank you.
No,
Just,
no. It's all good. Okay, so that was the sewer fund. The next page I said what is the sorry, I got some graphs here. So I mean really in reality the pie charts you guys already know it's Sam for where the majority of the funds go to. And then on the revenue side, it's the sewer service charges coming through the property tax roll. So those show that those pieces. Moving on through the year-to-year comparison is always kind of neat just to see kind of the fluctuations from one year to the next in terms of actuals. So I said, yeah, really the big shift here operationally, why I said stayed relatively consistent. The SAM grant revenues was lower than last year. I think that's really kind of the major shift there. The increase here was a 6% increase in sewer service charges. That was in the budget. So kind of said, unless you have any questions here, I'm going to move it on through to get to water. And of course, I said we have all the detail sheets coming here afterwards for every GL count that we have that we budget. We give all the actuals, and I said you guys don't see it because it's all cut off, but we have all the way going back to gosh, I want to say the early 2010, no 13. So we have data, so it's kind of neat to be able to have it and utilize it when the time comes, which is coming up here very soon. So coming into water, so from here, the property tax and then permits. This was a mainline extension fee. This is really what skewed this number here for the permits and fees. That's really it for revenue. But outside of that, relatively static. But yeah, a little bit of an increase from our expectations. Operationally wise, I said we were expected to have a shortfall of $3,000, but ended up coming out to be a surplus of $157,000. Nothing really engineering. This figure shifts. And we really have a hard time kind of getting our finger on it. We've had years where we've far over budgeted, and it's just water quality engineering. You guys probably know far more about it than I can explain. But as far as that's those costs related to our water quality are really what we spend a lot of our funds on for engineering. Outside of that, so I mean, when you look at it, being within was it 2.4 budgeted to 2.5, said a little over $100,000. Not too bad, I think. We do the best we can, but I said we plan for this more than a year in advance. So that's really where we land on that piece. Outside of that, there's really I would say kind of the same thing for water CIP. We were expecting the 3.6, only had 1.1, so no more delays in projects. Outside of that, really not a whole lot more to kind of share with it goes to the water side, but I guess bottom line, $2 million or 1.94 what we were expected to go into reserves. Ended up not being the case. We ended up adding to our fund balance by $455,000. So a positive there. When I look at this as far as, yeah, it's from year by year, but we are adding funds to our fund balance because we know, if you look at our CIP plan for our 5 years, it's all there as far as we know that these projects are coming. We're actively planning for them. And when they happen, we are going to have the funds to then pay those costs. I said, we're in a good position. I said, I really can't say it, but as far as we have a healthy fund balance that will help us pay for these projects, and without having us to go seek out debt, which I think is a great position to be in, considering the cost of projects. So any questions on the water side?
No, thank you.
Okay, guys. But yeah, as Cummins has said, this is just kind of our we're a month ahead of schedule, so that's awesome. As far as we usually present present the audit at this meeting, that was last month, and so now we're ahead of here because and then we said we'll present the mid-year budget versus actual probably in February once we get January or month end December cleaned up in January, but that'll be in February for that presentation. And then from there, that really gets us to getting into the budget for fiscal year 26-27. It sounds weird to say it, but it's coming, and we're going to be budgeting for it wait, did I say that right? No, 25, no. Yeah, 26-27. Yes, we are currently operating at a 25-26. I saw a weird face on the screen. I thought I was wrong. But yes, 26-27. We will be budgeting for it. It'll be another collaborative process between Clemens staff and our finance committee. So yeah, any input you guys have before then, please, by all means, I'm all ears. And yeah, that's all I have.
Catherine, you had one last thought?
I wanted to thank you, since you have been, working for us. Our financial reporting gets better and better every year and more understandable for the general public. And I want to acknowledge and thank you for that, because when I started here, many years ago, it was just spreadsheets. And trying to, for a layperson, I mean, I can do simple business accounting, but just getting spreadsheets was very confusing. It didn't, for some people like Peter, they can read it and they can make sense out of it. I appreciate the fact that you've made this useful for those of us who are in the public, who need detailed but simplified and understandable information. So thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's go now to the next item. Item 2, review and action concerning proposed sale of surplus Chevy Colorado truck.
Thanks, Scott. So hopefully the title is already pretty clear enough. We have a old truck. It's a 2011, has 100,000 miles on it. These are miles that are all driven in Montara and Moss Beach, so they're heavy miles, a lot of it getting in and out. So this is high mileage for a service truck of this type. We had plans to dispose of these of 2 trucks earlier, but decided to keep them and hold on to them for a little longer for a specific project that allowed us to utilize temps, and they were able to use those trucks. That project is finished, and so we would like to dispose of one of these trucks and hold on for another one that should be disposed of soon, a little longer. So we get squeezing everything out of it. These trucks are going to be auctioned off. And this is so this is a service that is available to government agencies, and we're taking advantage of that service. So all the surplus is going back into the district coffers. So we're asking to adopt a resolution declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing its sale. Thank you.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, by 5-0, the motion carries.
How do you advertise it?
We do not. We get it to the agency that is essentially taking care of the advertising and auctioning it off. So it's a specific place. We just hand it over to this organization that is certified to hold these auctions, and we don't worry about anything.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next item, anticipated cancellation of next regular scheduled board meetings.
Yeah, thank you. So we anticipate, unless there's urgent business, that we do not hold the December 18th or the January 1 meeting. So that would put us, I think January 15 would then be the next meeting, next regular scheduled meeting. Of course, there's always an option to call a special meeting within 24-hour notice if need be.
Okay,
If the city of Half Moon Bay makes a move, would we have to have a special meeting for that?
well, we'll wait and see.
Okay.
All right, let's go to reports. Sewer Authority has not had a board meeting. Anything on committees notable? No. Anything on Midcoast Community Council that we haven't already heard?
Nope, they're concentrating pretty much on, their, ideas on the Harbor District Park.
Okay. Anything about CSDA or LAFCO?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Chris, any attorney's report?
Yes, thank you, President Boyd. I don't have a report, but I would like to take this opportunity to, first of all, do my regular recusal statement for Director Young. So this is regarding item 2 on the district's closed session agenda, regarding claims that have been filed against the district related to the Seal Cove area, and some of the statements made by Director Young during public comment. First of all, I'll get this out of the way. Director Young has previously disclosed potential disqualifying financial conflict of interest under the Political Reform Act because her residence is located within the restrictions imposed under the real property interest rule, as it's called. Accordingly, she'll recuse herself and not participate in or be present for item 2 closed session discussion. She'll leave the meeting prior to the board's consideration, and that will be reflected in the minutes. Making this statement each and every time there is an item on the agenda that requires recusal is mandated under the Political Reform Act. Couple other statements I'd like to make just in general for both our newest board member as well as our other seasoned board members. Consistent with every board member's obligations under the Political Reform Act, once a board member has a disqualifying financial interest in a particular matter, they must not participate in making, or use their official position to influence the other board members or the board in any way, including through public comment. So I really would caution you all to keep that in mind when you're making statements, when there's an item on the agenda that you're recused from. As legal counsel to the district, it's my duty to advise the board when recusal is required. And based on the facts and applicable FPPC regulations that implement the Political Reform Act, Director Young has a disqualifying financial interest in the Seal Cove matter. And if she remains or participates or attempts to influence the board, it puts both herself and the district at risk for violation and potential invalidation of any actions the board takes with regard to the matter. And so I just want to put that out there as a reminder and to keep it in mind in the future, especially when this Seal Cove item is either on the open or closed session agenda. That's my statement.
Okay, thank you. Clements, anything to add to your general manager's report?
Nothing, thank you.
All right,
Hey, can I ask Christine something?
yes.
Christine, we have, new Brown Act and other, state rules that, determine the responsibilities and limitations on, board members. And, I know CSDA is going to be working, with districts to make that, more accessible and understandable to board members, but I'm wondering if at some point you couldn't also for the public do a just a quick update on the changes that are taking effect on January 1.
Absolutely. Seeing as we just canceled that meeting, but yes, I will do that immediately after
January
that.
1.
Absolutely.
And it's when we have time for it, but I know I'm probably gonna be retaking the ethics class. I took it in February of this year, and I'm probably gonna take it again so that I can get caught up with the changes. And they are offered free through CSDA, and we are members. And they're online too.
Yeah. Okay,
Certainly.
that's a good thought, and just for everyone else, at SAM, we've been getting a lot of input from council there on some of these matters, but this is probably the most comprehensive Brown Act change set that we've seen in quite a long time. It's a lot going on in the changes, so we got some learning to do. Okay, this brings us to the close of the public portion of the agenda. We will.
Thing, comment, we just got these and I wanted to say thank you to Clemens for ordering them. They're grease, containers that you can use at your sink to pour grease so it doesn't go down your drain.
Cool.
And they've had them over at GCSD for a while and you can pick them up at Spangler's, but I thought our district should have them too, because it keeps grease out of the sewer. And our district should have them for customers, so we now have them out in the lobby. So
Oh, that's really
I
good.
just wanted to shout out for Clemens ordering them and we have them now. They're little grease bags. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. I forgot to mention it.
No,
before.
and I apologize. I skipped right over director support. So,
But that's sort of like,
thanks for.
that's a Sam thing, but anyway,
Well, thanks for speaking up.
okay.
Okay. We're now at the end of the public section. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate the public participation, and we look forward to seeing you and others again in the future. We are going to take a brief recess with our thanks to PCT for being here to film and get this up onto the web. We're going to reconvene in closed session, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation on the matter of Half Moon Bay, and also on anticipated litigation, 12 potential cases on the Seal Cove emergency. With that, thank you all for being here, and between now and the next time we see you from this boardroom, we hope you had a very joyous season. And with that, we are in recess.